the court of heaven has officially served Esau with a final foreclosure notice. At this moment, Esau's system is scrambling to trap humanity inside a digital cage. But that digital cage is just a desperate attempt to ignore an expired lease. And once a lease is terminated, courtroom proceedings must shift immediately from evicting the tenant to taking possession of the property. So we must shift our focus away from the collapse of the matrix and look directly at the inventory of our birthright. That means leaving behind a fear-based employee mindset and stepping fully into your authority as a legal heir. This ain't just a feel-good metaphor, it's a binding legal shift under the covenant. In this video, we aren't just talking theory. We're breaking down the 3 legal shifts you must make to claim your birthright before the system resets. Before we break down shift number 1, look at where our legal title is recorded. Galatians chapter 4, verse 7 spells it out directly. So you are no longer a slave, but a son, and if a son, also an heir of Realigning through Messiah. And Romans chapter 8, verse 17 doubles down on this exact reality, declaring that the children of Yasharal are heirs, heirs of the Most High, and co-heirs with the Messiah. Let's break down the 3 legal shifts required to claim what's yours. Shift number 1. An employee survives on wages governed by a temporary boss. When the boss's house starts to fracture, the employee panics because they're terrified of losing their livelihood. But an heir or true title holder, they don't panic. They see the downfall of a temporary manager as the exact legal signal to step up and claim the estate. So this idea that the remnant will be extracted empty-handed in a midnight panic completely contradicts both the historical blueprint and future prophecy. Just look at the pattern of the first Exodus. Our ancestors didn't march out of Egypt in poverty. In Exodus chapter 12, verse 35 through 36 describes how our ancestors completely spoiled the Egyptians, carrying out massive amounts of silver, gold, and clothing. That wasn't a quiet getaway. It was a forensic reclamation of centuries of unpaid back wages for their servitude. And the blueprint for the second Exodus follows the exact same rule. Isaiah chapter 52 verse 12 gives us a clear mandate. For you shall not go out with haste, nor go by flight, for Yah will go before you, and the Elohim of Yasharal will be your rear guard. We aren't sneaking out in fear. We're walking out under direct divine protection. Now, let's clear up a major misconception about the wilderness of the people. It's easy to view the wilderness as just a retreat, where we simply wait out the storm, but Scripture shows us an entirely different timeline. While the global system is violently crashing through its designated 3.5 years of great tribulation, the remnant is passing under the rod in the wilderness to be standardized, organized, and prepared. Look at how the prophetic blueprint maps this exact timeline out verbatim in Revelation chapter 12, verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. And Daniel chapter 12, verse 7 seals this exact time frame, declaring it shall be for a time, times, and a half. That is 3.5 years of pure systemic judgment falling on the nations. The wilderness isn't a passive hiding spot. It's a strategic, divinely protected legal staging area. As Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 35 to 38 outlines, the Most High says, I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels. The nations are breaking under judgment, but the wilderness is where the Most High is actively resetting the covenant boundaries and purging the rebels so the true heirs can claim the land. The wilderness is temporary. The ultimate goal has always been the full physical reclamation of the promised land, extending from the Nile to the Euphrates as dictated in Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. We are marching out to execute the physical reclamation of our designated tribal lands and inherit the treasures hid in the sand outlined in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 19. To grasp what this inheritance actually means, we must cast off the superficial, disembodied concept of heavenly mansions floating in the sky. We are dealing with our territorial sovereignty, hidden mineral wealth, physical resource sanctuaries, and the physical restoration of ancient covenant artifacts hidden from the eyes of the public for millennia. Before we inspect the land of our inheritance, we must first uncover the hidden legal throne that validates our deed. The Matrix has intentionally conditioned us to believe that the physical temple, the Ark of the Covenant, and the set-apart holy instruments are either completely vaporized, permanently lost, or have been replaced by a purely metaphorical state of mind. They aggressively pushed this narrative because they understood, if Yasharal ever realized that the physical proof of their authority is still preserved on this earth, the entire academic, religious, and political illusion of the Western Empire collapses instantly. Let's look at the historical records our ancestors left behind. Turn to 2 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 48. It records that the prophet Jeremiah, warned by the Most High, took the tabernacle and the ark and went up the mountain where Moses climbed to see the heritage of the Most High. When Jeremiah arrived, he found a hollow cave, brought the sacred items inside, and completely sealed the entrance behind him. Look at the absolute precision of this deposit. Right before the Babylonian army breached the walls of Jerusalem, the prophet Jeremiah did not destroy or abandon the physical symbols of Yah's earthly government. Operating under direct divine command, he forensically cached the tabernacle, the altar of incense, and the Ark of the Covenant inside a secure, hollow cave situated on Mount Nebo. Now listen to verses 7 and 8 of 2 Maccabees chapter 2. As for that place, it shall be unknown until the time that Elohim gather his people again together and receive them unto mercy. Then shall the Most High show them these things, and the glory of the Most High shall appear. This text documents the exact physical trigger of the second Exodus. The Ark of the Covenant is not a cinematic myth, and it is absolutely not sitting hidden away in an imperialist museum vault in Europe. It is a tangible, covenant instrument, legally deeded exclusively to the high priest of the lineage of Levi under the uncorrupted order of Zadok. As we align with the 100th Jubilee of Abraham's covenant, the veil covering these hidden relics is beginning to violently tear. The reveal of these sacred relics is not for display, but it marks the literal restoration of the legal court of the Most High on the face of the earth. When the glory of Elohim is revealed, and these ancient relics are brought back into the custody of the cleansed, righteous remnant, the entire spiritual frequency of the earth resets. The counterfeit authority of Rome's hidden archives, along with the fabricated archaeological narratives pushed by the modern globalist elite, will be utterly shattered overnight. You are not merely inheriting the land. You are inheriting the literal physical throne of the Creator's righteous government on earth when we pivot to our physical real estate of our inheritance. The Matrix have conditioned our people to look at a tiny, war-torn, synthetic strip of desert in the Middle East and believe that barren fraction of land constitutes the entirety of the Promised Land. They deliberately push this narrative to make your inheritance look small, unstable, and entirely undesirable. Now, to put the sovereign deed directly to the test, open your scriptures to Genesis chapter 15, verse 18, and look at the unchangeable geographical parameters of our inheritance. In the same day, Yah made a covenant with Abram, saying, "Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates." When you trace the southern border established in Exodus chapter 23, verse 31, from the Red Sea even into the desert, alongside the Nile corridor of Genesis chapter 15, verse 18, you are looking at a massive multi-nation footprint across Northeast Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. In terms of today's political map, this grand inheritance involves these specific modern nations: the entire Sinai Peninsula, the eastern desert along the Red Sea, and the critical Nile River basin in Egypt. The entire northwestern region of Saudi Arabia, including the Gulf of Aqaba coastline, the historic Hejaz corridor along the Red Sea coast, and the vast mineral-rich expanses of the northern Arabian desert. The entire southern desert territory extending down to the strategic port of Aqaba of Jordan. The upper Nile River corridors in northern Sudan, where ancient river tributaries meet, securing the southern freshwater gate of the African continent. In Kuwait, the northern Gulf corridor, where the southern desert expanse connects eastward toward the mouth of the Euphrates and the Persian Gulf, including Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, expanding through the Fertile Crescent, cutting through Syria, and anchoring its eastern wall directly on the banks of the Euphrates River in Iraq, while reaching north through Lebanon to the Mediterranean coastline. Naming these specific countries exposes why modern energy cartels and global superpowers have saturated the Red Sea, the Sinai Peninsula, and the Arabian Peninsula with naval fleets, deep-water ports, and military bases. They are actively occupying the southern and eastern gates of your legal estate. Look at the direct verification unfolding on your news feeds. While the sleeping masses panic over military strikes in Iran and a Strait of Hormuz blockade and crude oil aggressively surging over $100 a barrel, the watchmen on the wall are reading the prophetic blueprints. The Matrix wants you to believe this is simply a localized geopolitical conflict over energy corridors. They want you focused on the rising price of gasoline at the pump, so you stay trapped in a state of immediate survival anxiety. But let us pull back the veil and look at the structural vulnerability of Esau's empire, their fake petrodollar, the central banking algorithms. The international trade indices is completely dependent on a few hyper-frail physical choke points controlled by the sword. When 20% of the world's petroleum liquids transit through a narrow maritime pathway like the Strait of Hormuz, and that pathway goes dark, the entire synthetic economy of the West enters a stagflationary death spiral. And when you stack a Hormuz shutdown on top of a severed Bab el-Mandeb in the Red Sea, global shipping routes are instantly forced around the Horn of Africa, sending maritime insurance and freight rates through the roof overnight. The illusion is completely unraveling because they have zero backstop left. To hide the bleeding suppressed energy prices, the administrative empire has been frantically dumping its emergency stockpiles into the commercial market. The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve has plunged to its lowest level since 1983, sitting over 56% empty. Esau drained the family silver just to keep a failing digital grid online. And now, this system is running completely on empty. They can manipulate numbers on a banking screen and print endless fake currency out of thin air, but they can't print a single drop of physical oil. The Most High is drying up the physical resources of Babylon, proving that the sword of Esau can no longer protect the assets they stole. Why is the Father allowing Edom to violently fracture its own trade arteries? It's because what is outlined in Genesis chapter 15, verse 16, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. For centuries, the legal cup of wickedness hadn't reached the brim. But in this active year of 2026, that cup of iniquity has finally run over. In Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6 to 7 state, "Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his! How long? And to him that laddeth himself with thick clay. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them?" The thick clay is the massive weight of unbacked debt and corporate leverage. The banking cartels believed they could print digital currency forever, using foreign wars to artificially prop up their resource monopolies. But by closing the valves of the earth's oil, the Creator is systematically rendering their paper and digital assets completely worthless. What good is a frozen digital bank account or $1 million fiat dollars when the shipping lanes are gridlocked, the container costs are up 74%, and the physical supply chains of Babylon are permanently severed? This is where the reality of our inheritance clashes directly with their collapsing system. While the citizens of modern Babylon watch inflation surge and beg their governments for fuel subsidies, the remnant of Yasharal is being pushed into complete self-reliance. The Father is intentionally breaking our dependency on their grid by making their grid impossible to afford. The resource sanctuaries reserved for the children of Yasharal do not run on the trade lanes of the eagle. The inheritance means that, as the international corridors turn to ash, the internal wealth of the earth, the subterranean mineral deposits, the water tables, reverts to the localized, covenant-aligned communities who answer to the frequency of Yah. Look at how the Father intends to clear out the squatters out of our land in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 15 through 16. And Yah shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. This exodus isn't just an abstract spiritual idea. The Most High is physically reshaping the earth to open highways of repatriation. The drying up of the tongue of the Egyptian sea, smiting of the Euphrates into 7 streams, are literal, physical interventions. The Edom's kingdom will be systematically bypassed by the raw, natural realignment of the earth. Esau is destroying his own house with the sword. Our job is not to save his burning matrix. Our job is to secure your perimeter, step off the sinking ship, and claim the sovereign estate. Now let's pivot from their synthetic illusions of wealth on this earth. The global elite desperately wants us focused on their digital stock markets, their synthetic gold certificates, and their fake currencies. Why? Because those are entirely artificial constructs that they can freeze, manipulate, and completely delete with a single stroke of a computer keyboard. They want you completely disconnected from the physical earth because the earth is the one absolute asset they cannot replicate or manufacture out of thin air. Open your scriptures directly to Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 13 through 19. They shall call the people unto the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall suck of the abundance of the seas and of treasures hid in the sand. Let that register for a moment, the deep that coucheth beneath, the chief things of the ancient mountains, treasures hid in the sand. This is not poetic overstatement. This is a raw, descriptive geological survey. The massive oil reserves of the Middle East, the completely untouched lithium and cobalt veins running through the African continent, the vast deposits of pure gold and copper buried miles beneath the surface. These natural assets are elements hardwired to respond exclusively to the righteous administration of the Creator's covenant. Under the operational judgments of Deuteronomy 28, the land beneath our feet became as brass, the heavens above became as iron, and the earth systematically refused to yield its true economic potential to us while we remained in the custody of our captivity. But under the legal mechanics of the Jubilee reset, that structural curse is being actively lifted off the ground for the righteous Shemite remnant. The earth itself functions as a living, breathing ledger. It structurally recognizes who the true legal heirs are, while the dying corporate matrix of Esau is running completely out of uncorrupted water, facing massive agricultural crop collapses and watching their synthetic industrial networks completely disintegrate. The resource sanctuaries explicitly reserved for the gathered remnant will experience supernatural fertility. The abundance of the seas and the treasures hid in the sand will unlock. The true seed will have zero dependency on international cartels or corporate monopolies. The land itself will yield its raw, unmitigated wealth directly to the covenant communities operating on the true creation frequency. So how do we practically bridge the gap between where we are sitting today in the land of our captivity and this massive physical inheritance? How do we execute the transition from being helpless victims of a corporate asset freeze to becoming the righteous administrators of the wealth of the Gentiles? As Ezekiel chapter 20 outlines, this wilderness protocol is where the Father brings us under the rod and into the bond of the covenant. The wilderness of the people is your systemic deprogramming staging ground. It is a physical geopolitical buffer zone, where the Father separates the remnant from the deadly dependencies of the beast system. If you are sitting around waiting for a digital transfer or hoping a corporate system will preserve your wealth, You have completely misread the mechanics of the kingdom. The Father is not going to build his kingdom on the foundation of Esau's digital matrix. He is forcing our transition by exposing the fragility of man-made grids so that his people step fully into covenant order. To prepare your household for this physical transition, you must begin building your localized perimeter today through 3 scriptural pillars. Realign your household with the scriptural framework of kingdom governance rather than digital wealth systems. The kingdom of Yah is structured around family lineages, physical land divisions, and covenant community, as ordained in Numbers 26 and Ezekiel 48. In times of judgment, phantom numbers on a screen hold 0 legal or physical value, as Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 19 warns. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yah. True covenant preparation means shifting your focus away from digital speculation and grounding your household in tangible stewardship, focusing on physical land, real seeds, water, tools, and local self-sufficiency. Move completely away from isolated survivalism and embrace a covenant community. The scriptural inheritance promised to Yasharal is strictly tribal and communal, mirroring the model of the early assembly in Acts chapter 4 verse 32. Where the believers were of one heart and of one soul and shared their physical resources to ensure no one was in need. Begin building localized trade and support networks with other awakened watchmen in your area, learning to cultivate clean food, pool practical skills, and protect your perimeters as a unified body under the law of Yah. You cannot expect to receive the resources of the Most High if you are still regulating your labor, your rest, and your planting seasons on the Gregorian calendar of the beast system. You must realign your household, the unbending solar calendar that aligns directly with the heavenly court. In fact, look at the prophetic clock right now, as this transmission goes live. Today marks day 1 of the 5th month on the Creator's order, and this coming Sunday, day 3 of month 5, we intersect the sacred feast of the new wine, while the old corrupt wine of Babylon's system is turning to vinegar. The Most High is pouring out fresh covenant authority to those standing at the gate. Family, we are not standing at the edge of history as helpless spectators watching an empire burn. We are stepping onto the stage as the sovereign heirs coming to claim what was forensically deeded to our bloodline before the foundation of the world. The legal grace period for the squatters on your estate has expired, and the Creator is actively liquidating the assets of Babylon to restore the order of his covenant. You cannot govern tomorrow's estate while operating on yesterday's captive schedule. If you want to step completely out of their system and position your household under the active court of heaven, you must align with the clock of the Creator. Before you close out this transmission, open your browser, head straight to jubileetimeline.com/calendar, and save the uncorrupted 364-day solar calendar directly to your screen. Stop regulating your life, your rest, and your stewardship on the Gregorian calendar of the beast. Realign your perimeter to the unbending celestial clock of your ancestors today. Smash the like button to break through their algorithms. Share this brief with a watchman who is ready to take up their position. And drop "Jacob is rising" in the comments below, so the system knows the remnant is awake, organized, and standing on our birthright. Reset your clock. Break the dependency. Reclaim your birthright. Thank you for watching. Hallelujah.